All right, so let's talk about fluoride.
Okay.
You've probably heard about it, probably have some strong opinions about it.
Yeah.
Um, and, we all know it's supposed to be good for our teeth, right?
Right.
It's been added to water for decades now.
For sure.
And for the most part, it's worked,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Like cavities are down.
Yeah.
But what if there's more to this story?
Mhm.
Like, what if there are downsides that we didn't fully, consider?
Well, that's what this new research is suggesting.
Oh.
And it's not just any study.
Right.
This is a massive 9-year government study published in JAMA Pediatrics.
Wow, 9 years.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
They don't mess around. So what did they find?
Well, they analyzed data from 74 studies across 10 countries
Wow.
and found a link between higher fluoride levels in children and lower IQ scores.
Okay, so wait.
Yeah.
You telling me the stuff that's supposed to be helping our kids might actually be hurting them?
That's the concern that this research is raising. The study found that for every 1 part per million increase in fluoride,
Mm-hmm.
and to be clear, we're talking about fluoride levels that are measured in children's urine,
Okay.
there was about a 1-point drop in IQ.
1 point.
Yeah.
Honestly, that doesn't sound like a lot.
On an individual level, maybe not.
Okay.
But think about it on a population level.
Okay.
A shift of just 5 IQ points
Okay.
would double the number of people classified as intellectually disabled.
Oh, wow.
That's a significant societal shift with huge implications
This-
for schools, the workforce, everything.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That is kind of a big deal then.
Yeah.
But how did they even measure fluoride exposure in all these different studies?
Well, that's what's striking. The link between fluoride and lower IQ scores held up regardless of how they measured exposure.
Oh, interesting.
So some studies used urine samples,
Okay.
others used water samples,
Mm-hmm.
and some even looked at dental fluorosis. You know those white spots you sometimes see on kids' teeth
Yeah.
that are a sign of too much fluoride?
Okay, so it wasn't just one way of measuring, it was consistent across the board.
Exactly. And that makes the findings harder to dismiss.
Okay.
But there is a catch.
Okay, there's always a catch.
The study doesn't distinguish between naturally occurring fluoride and the fluoride that's added to water systems.
Oh, so if the study doesn't tell us about natural fluoride, what does that mean for people who live in areas where it's already high in the water?
Yeah,
Should they be concerned too?
that's a great question.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this study doesn't give us the answer.
Okay.
It's a significant gap in our understanding.
Okay, so we've got this major study linking fluoride to lower IQ scores, but we're not even sure if that applies to naturally occurring fluoride.
Right.
This is complicated.
It is. And
Yeah.
to make things even more complex, there's research showing that fluoride might have a different impact depending on the child's sex.
Really? What do you mean?
So there was a study by Dr. Bruce Lanphier
Right.
that specifically looked at fluoride levels in pregnant women's urine and the IQ scores of their children.
Okay.
He found a link between higher fluoride levels and lower IQ scores, but only in boys.
Hold on, only in boys.
Yeah.
What about the girls?
They didn't show the same effect. Why
Ah.
just boys?
Yeah.
That's the million-dollar question.
That's crazy.
We're just scratching the surface of understanding how fluoride impacts the developing brain, and this research highlights how much we still don't know.
Yeah, this is a lot to unpack.
It is.
Yep.
It is. Yeah. It really makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what other factors are we overlooking when it comes to, our children's development? And this isn't just some fringe theory.
Right.
The IQ drop they're connecting to fluoride is similar to what we saw with lead exposure. Back in the day, remember leaded gasoline?
Oh, yeah, it took us years to figure out how bad that was for us.
Exactly. And we're just beginning to grasp how these environmental factors can affect our brains, especially when we're young.
Especially when we're young.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this compelling research about fluoride,
Right.
but I know there's always another side to this story.
Oh, for sure.
Is there anyone pushing back against these findings?
Absolutely. One of the most vocal critics is Dr. Stephen Levy.
Okay.
He argues that all the human studies in this review were conducted outside the U.S.,
Okay.
where fluoride levels and sources may be different.
But isn't it a problem that the study only looked at data outside the U.S.?
Yeah.
Like, how much can we really apply that to our lives here?
That's a valid point. And Dr. Levy also points out that many of these studies had limitations, like a high risk of bias.
Oh, okay.
Even the study authors acknowledge that they don't have enough data to say for sure if the recommended levels of fluoride in our drinking water actually impact IQ.
So more research is definitely needed.
Definitely. And Dr. Levy also brings up the National Toxicology Program. Okay.
Which conducted animal studies that didn't show any negative cognitive effects from low to moderate levels of fluoride.
Okay, so where does that leave us? We've got this huge study pointing to potential risks, but we also have critics and a lot of unknowns.
Right.
What are people supposed to do with this information?
It's about weighing the potential risks and benefits and making informed decisions.
Yeah.
This isn't about panicking or throwing out your toothpaste.
Right.
We know fluoride plays a crucial role in preventing cavities.
Right.
And those are a serious problem, too.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
Exactly. But the study does make you think.
Okay.
If the most critical period for potential fluoride impact is early life, when the brain is still developing.
And we know that fluoride doesn't do much, if anything, for babies' teeth at that stage.
Right. Then perhaps we should be rethinking our approach, especially for pregnant women.
So should expectant moms be avoiding fluoride altogether?
It's a conversation to have with their doctors,
Okay.
but it is important to remember that fluoride isn't just in water.
It's in black tea, some soft drinks, even pesticides.
Wow, it's everywhere.
It is.
So what can we do? It feels a little overwhelming.
Knowledge is power.
Okay.
We need to be aware of where fluoride is and make informed choices. It's about taking control of our health and the health of our families.
So what are some of the key takeaways here?
Firstly, this research raises legitimate concerns about the potential impact of high fluoride levels on cognitive development, especially in early childhood.
Okay.
We need more research, but it's a wake-up call. Secondly, we need to be mindful of all the sources of fluoride in our environment, not just water.
Right.
It's about being aware of what we consume and how we're exposed.
Okay. And lastly,
This whole debate highlights the importance of critical thinking.
yes.
We can't just accept everything we hear at face value. We need to question assumptions, evaluate evidence, and make our own informed decisions.
Yeah, it's like we're always figuring out what's good for us and what's not. And just when you think you've got it figured out, something like this comes along.
Yeah. Makes us question everything.
It's true. And the thing is, fluoride is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
It makes you think, like, what other everyday things might be affecting our kids' brains in ways we haven't even considered yet.
That's a kind of scary thought.
It is, but it's also an opportunity.
Okay.
The more we learn about how our environment impacts our health, the better equipped we are to make those informed decisions. Think about, like, all the chemicals we encounter every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Pesticides, air pollution, plastics.
Yeah.
We're just beginning to understand how all these things might be affecting our brains.
Yeah.
Especially those of young children.
So what can we do while we wait for science to catch up?
Stay informed.
Okay.
Keep learning about these issues. Ask questions.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Right.
We have a right to know what's in our food, our water, our products.
Absolutely.
And we have a responsibility to ourselves and future generations to make choices that protect our health. We can't just sit back and wait for someone else to fix it,
Exactly.
right? We have to be proactive.
Advocate for change.
Okay.
Support research. Push for stricter regulations.
Yeah.
And demand transparency from companies and government agencies.
Right.
Our collective voice matters.
It really does. So what about on an individual level? What can we do in our own lives?
There are things we can do every day to reduce our exposures, choosing organic foods whenever possible,
Okay.
filtering our water, reducing our use of plastics.
Right.
These small changes can really add up.
Yeah.
We can also support businesses that are committed to sustainability and environmental responsibility.
Yeah. It's empowering to know that we're not just helpless bystanders.
Right.
We can make choices that shape our health and the health of our planet.
Absolutely. This is what's so fascinating and so important about this whole thing. It's not just about science.
Yeah.
It's about our values, our choices, and our collective responsibility to create a better future.
Well said. So there you have it, everyone. A look at the complex and evolving world of fluoride and IQ.
Right.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the latest scientific research to the dissenting voices to the many questions that still remain.
Yeah.
We hope this has given you a lot to think about and maybe even spark your own curiosity to learn more.
Absolutely.
Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep pushing for a healthier and more sustainable world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the fascinating world of science and health. Thanks for joining us.